Hi, I'm Billy, Whisky Exchange Ambassador, and welcome to our virtual whisky show, Whisky Quiz. I'm joined today by the Whisky Exchange Quizmaster Extraordinaire, this side, Chris Bolton. Hello, Chris. Good morning, and how are you?
Good morning, Billy. It's a pleasure to be here. I am very well, thank you. I'm streaming to you live from the Whisky Exchange store in Covent Garden, which is actually just set to reopen as of today, the 22nd of September. So hopefully next week, from the 1st or 2nd, back open for business. Our other two stores in Great Portland Street and London Bridge are up and running, though, albeit with social distancing and restricted hours. But otherwise, I'm very well and excited to be here to do a quiz with you today, Billy.
Excellent. So, people who don't know, we run quizzes every now and again at the Whisky Exchange, and Chris is our king of whisky trivia, the master of the quiz. So, Chris, if you could kick us off and start with a question, or quickly let you know how it works. We've got 30 questions for you. They're all multiple choice. We'll read out the question. We'll give you the answers, give you a chance to write them down at home, and when we're finished, we'll run through all the answers to give you a chance to work out how well you've done. But also, hang on till the end, because there are prizes at stake here as well. So, Chris, if you want to lead us off with question number 1.
Absolutely. You have to promise, please, not to Google any of these answers. We try to pick questions that are ungoogleable, but be good people. So, the first question for you all. Which Irish band had a hit single in 1972 with the song Whiskey in the Jar? Was it A, Thin Lizzy, B, Fat Seamus, or C, Slender McFarlane?
Right. Moving on swiftly, because we've got 30 questions to get through. So, number 2. Traditional pot stills must be made out of which material to produce single malt whiskey? Steel, iron, or copper?
Excellent. Question number 3. Which famous American president owned a whiskey distillery situated in Mount Vernon? Was it A, George Washington, B, John Adams, or C, Thomas Jefferson?
So, staying in America, which American master distiller was responsible for creating the Blanton's brand of single barrel bourbon in 1984? Was it Elmer T. Lee, George T. Stagg, or John E. Fitzgerald?
It's a tricky one, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we're going to go into orbit now with the next question. Which Scottish distillery sent a sample of their new make spirit into space in 2018? Was it A, Dalmore, B, Ardbeg, or C, Glen Canaveral? Which of those distilleries sent a sample into space? Actually aged it on the International Space Station, which was a very exciting experiment for the whiskey geeks out in the world.
Very cool.
Seeing how zero gravity can affect maturation for any future space warehousing that might take place.
I believe very specifically it was the paper that came at the end of it was all about terpene extraction in microgravity. I downloaded it. I have not read it. Such is the way of things. Right, next question. So, which of the following pieces of equipment would you typically find in a distillery? An outback, a double back, or a washback?
Interesting. Yes, very, very good. So now we're back over to the US for another question. Prohibition in the United States, so that's when alcohol was illegal, or at least to produce alcohol and consume alcohol in public was illegal. Which years did that take place between? Was it 1910 to 1940, 1915 to 1935, or 1920 to 1933?
Sad times.
Fun fact, bit of trivia for you there, Billy. Did you know that Prohibition actually took place in Scotland at some point as well?
Really? Oh, I've heard little bits and pieces, but how effective was it, Chris?
I think not very. I think they had a very, they needed to have it was put to sort of local referendum to councils around Scotland, and they needed to have a minimum of basically a super majority for it to pass. And one of the only areas that actually enacted prohibition was actually around Old Pulteney, around Wick, northeast of Scotland, due to the insane herring rush that was going on up there at the time. At least that's what I was told, anyway.
Yeah, there was a lot of herring going on, but I also heard tales of quite how much they were drinking, and it's all new make spirits and everything like that. I've heard tales, I can't remember the exact number, but it was in the order of magnitude of 2 pints of new make spirit for every man, woman, and child in Wick and the surrounding area per day. So, sort of see why, maybe, makes sense.
Yeah. Does sound a bit fishy to me, though. So.
Oh, no. Oh, there it is. And so it begins, people. So it begins. Moving on. Question number 8. Which of the following is not a species of barley used for whiskey making? So we have Bear, Optic, and Golden Wonder.
Excellent. So our next question is now heading over to, well, staying in warehouses around Scotland or the world, but mostly Scotland. What name is used for the traditional earthen floored warehouses that are used to mature whiskey in Scotland? Is it A, dunnage, B, rummage, or C, scrummage? Ponder over that one.
Ponder. Anyway, moving on. Question number 10. So, which Japanese distillery was the first to be founded in the country in 1923? That's specifically which whiskey distillery was the first to be founded in Japan in 1923. Was it Hakushu? Was it Yamazaki? Or was it Yuichi?
3 excellent distilleries, I have to say, but which was the first one?
I say anniversary coming up soon.
Indeed, I hadn't even thought of that. Only 3 years away.
Yeah, exciting.
Right, we're back over to the US. Seems to have got a lot of questions about the US here, but trying to keep it as diverse as possible. Don't want to be too Scotch-centric in our whiskey quizzes. So, this is another music question for you. What were the good old boys drinking in Don McLean's 1972 hit single American Pie? Was it A, bourbon and rye, B, whiskey and rye, or C, Scotch and rye?
And they all rhyme appropriately. So you're not getting out that easy. So moving on, question number 12. Staying on the other side of the pond, we have, which American state is famous for the Lincoln County process when making whiskey? And your options are A, Texas, B, Kentucky, and C, Tennessee.
Very good. Now we're back to Scotland. Some interesting facts about Scotland. So, which Scottish single malt brand was renamed the Singleton in 1986 due to its perceived difficulty to pronounce? Was it A, Dufton, B, Athrusk, or C, Altavane? And you get a bonus point if you can spell those distilleries from how I've said them.
Moments ahead of me saying there's no bonus points for spelling the distilleries. But yeah, we'll see what we can do with that. If it's a tie,
there's no bonus point for that. But it is.
You're marking yourselves later on, so it's up to you guys. Yeah. So, question number 14. What was the name of the distillery cat, the Mouser, that lived at Glen Turret Distillery and held a Guinness World Record for the number of mice caught over its lifetime? Was it Towser, Bowser, or Garfield?
Excellent. Moving on to the next question. So, what is the name of the farm on which Kilchoman Distillery on Islay is situated? Is it A, rockside, B, landslide, or C, burnside? Very Scottish sounding mountainy names of farms, I think there. You agree, Billy?
Sides all over the place. It's Oh, no. Burnside's also an excellent skate park. Moving on, I've been playing too many computer games recently. So, question number 16. One of the earliest records of whiskey in Ireland dates from 1405. What is the name of the manuscript this is contained in? And Chris, I may need to come to you for pronunciation help here. Although, who knows? So,
give it a go, Billy. See how you get.
Okay.
Give it a go. See how you get on.
Okay. A, the Annals of Clonmacnoise. Oh, brilliant! That's right. It's like expecting there to be lots of extra syllables in there. I didn't realise. B, the Chronicles of Riddick, or C, the Book of Kells.
Fun, yeah. Very tricky, that one. Interesting. It's one thing that gets used to, make the argument that the Irish invented whiskey, which really does depend on which side of the Irish Channel that you're on. But I mean, ultimately, whiskey making or distilling was brought to Scotland by other Europeans. But whiskey,
I'm still reckoning ancient Egypt. So
is that your theory, Billy?
Yeah. They had beer, they had stills, they like to drink. So, but there is now actually a distillery in Egypt again at the moment, which is quite good. So,
is there really, Billy? I did not know that. That's a fun fact.
Yeah. They won the award for best Egyptian single malt last year at the World Whiskey Awards. They are the only entrant, but still
hot category. Hot category.
Loads of entrants. Yeah. Got it. Anyway, Chris. Next question.
I do know that's roughly where the word coal comes from, isn't it? It's the word alcohol comes from is
alcohol.
Alcohol, yeah. And coal is the kind of eyeliner that a lot of women wear, or is it mascara? I'm not entirely sure.
You need to work on your makeup skills, Chris. I think definitely.
I do, yeah.
Build up those eyelashes, man. Seriously.
I think I could get some strong lash game going on. I mean, I've already got the top knot at the moment, so I'm going to embrace my femininity. So we have the next question number 17, if you are keeping track of the questions. So, which would be helpful, I think, to know which question we're on. So in the 2012 movie Skyfall, what is the vintage of the Macallan that James Bond and the villain drink together? Is it A, 1946, B, 1962, or C, 1970?
New Bond film soon. New Bond soon. Hopefully, good drinks.
Very excited about the new Bond film, Billy. I have to say, it's mostly because I think they, from what I heard, they drafted one of my favourite writers and comedians in to help with the script, which is Phoebe Waller-Bridge, to sort of try and make it a little bit more or less, misogynistic, as many Bond films over the years have been.
No, not a Bond film. Excellent. The joys of an advent of a Bond film.
But no, I am genuinely excited about this one. So
yeah, I say it looks rather shiny, and as ever, I look forward to seeing what interesting beverages he drinks.
Indeed. Product placements, you mean?
I couldn't possibly comment on the amount of money paid to go Amiga. Anyway, moving on. So, question number 18. What species of bird features on bottles of Powers Irish whiskey? There are 3 of them upon the label. Are they sparrows, swallows, or goldfinches?
Yeah, interesting question, that one. Never really noticed them on the bottle, but they are there.
It was when we were talking about this earlier on, and I suddenly sort of went, yeah, they are, aren't they? I was thinking of other Irish whiskies famously attached to birds, and sort of went, they got the wrong. Oh no,
yeah.
So
yeah, there is quite another famous one that has a bird connection. Obviously, strong. Must be a lot of what are they called? Is it ornithologists? Study of birds.
Twitches. I do.
Okay. In Irish distilling over the years. Right, question number 19 then. Which of these three distilleries was first to be granted a royal warrant in 1833? Is it A, Glenery Royal, B, Royal Brackla, or C, Royal Lochnagar? 1833 that was. When was the first distillery? Which of those three distilleries was granted a royal warrant?
Mm-hmm. I've been there. It's very nice. So anyway, that might give it away if anybody's stalking me. So yeah, we'll go no further.
Well, one of them, I don't think you will have been to because it's long gone. I don't even know what it is.
Oh, you don't know the random bits of Scotland I traipse around to go into the remaining series of small walls that was once a distillery.
This
Pennet pans.
This once legendary distillery is now a bus stop.
Or, in the cases of many of them, really nice flats. There's some really good flats and nice little sort of roads around, sort of thing. Yeah,
I'd love to live in an old distillery. I think that'd be brilliant. In the floor maltings, nice warehouse conversion.
Oh, if you want to go for a temporary one, go up to Inverness, nip out on the road, sort of out of town, and stop in at the Premier Inn that used to be is it Colburn? No, it's not Colburn.
Colburn's the warehousing in Speyside, isn't it? Convalmore, maybe.
No. This is really annoying because it's something Burn. Colburn. There we go. Is it Colburn? Yeah, it's the Burn. Anyway, I may have got it entirely wrong. Glenford, Glenalbin, and Col. I got them on the shelf next door.
Milburn.
There we go.
Milburn's the three Inverness distilleries: Milburn, Glenalbin, and Glenford.
I'm meant to be hosting a quiz, and I got the name of the distillery. Apologise. Note to editor: please edit out the Milburn. Yeah, she'd definitely stay there. It's a beautiful Premier Inn. For values of beautiful that generally apply to Premier Inns.
There you go. Right. Anyway,
yes. So, next question. Question 20. Which American comedian once joked, always carry a flagon of whiskey in case of snakebite? And furthermore, always carry a small snake. Was it Lenny Bruce, Johnny Carson, or W.C. Fields?
That is a great quote as well. And one of the reasons why I do get so many snake bites in my trousers.
Not commenting. So yes, on to our final run of questions, Chris.
Right, yes, we've had 20 questions so far. We're on to the last 10 now. So, and I really hope that a Scottish warehouseman does not get offended by this question. But so Ian MacArthur, who's an absolutely lovely fella, is a warehouseman at Lagavulin Distillery on Islay, goes by what nickname? Is it A, Stinky, B, Pinky, or C, Twinkie?
And it is an off-use nickname. He is quite happy with it.
He's very happy with one of those names. I don't think he'd be happy with some of the other ones, but you never know. You never know.
He's a very nice man. The worst that will happen, he'll just wrap you across the knuckles of the Valinch and not let you have any whiskey. He's a good chap. So, on to the next question. Question 22. In the 1986 film Highlander, what is the fine single malt that Conor McLeod orders at the bar? Although he does order it on the rocks, which we might allow. So, the three whiskies are, is it Glenlivet, Glenfiddich, or Glenmorangie?
Interesting. I can't remember the last time I saw Highlander. It's been a long time ago.
Unfortunately, I saw Highlander 2 first, which very much poisoned me on the watching Highlander 1. But as people often ask, how many Highlander films are there? There can be only one.
Very good.
There we go. That's my contribution to the bad joke list, Chris. Anyway, off you go. Next question.
Question number 23. So, what is the minimum number of years a whiskey needs to be aged for in order to be called Scotch whiskey? Is it A, 3 years, B, 5 years, or C, 10 years?
Mm-hmm. On to question number 24. Which whiskey brand launched a limited edition bottle commemorating the 100th year anniversary of Dylan Thomas's birth in 2014? Was it Penderyn, Glenfiddich, or Johnny Walker?
Interesting, yeah. And Thomas. I mean, the distillery that is the correct answer has got quite a few limited edition bottlings, haven't they?
Yes, and they're very good at tying in with interesting events, and we'll just stop there, otherwise we might give it away. So
we're going to give it away, aren't we? We're going to give that one away, yeah.
Right.
Let's move on to the next one. Well, this is question number 25 now. So, interesting question here. Which former England football player has lent his weight behind the new, or relatively new, I should say, Hague Club grain whiskey? So which England footballer has put his name behind it? Was it A, David Beckham, B, Bobby Charlton, or C, Paul Gascoigne?
Originally, I saw the word football, over my head, no idea whatsoever. Then you asked the question, and I realised this is maybe the only football question I know the answer to.
There are actually two. There's actually two whiskey brands that are sponsored by or have former England football players behind them. Obviously, one of them being Hague Club,
but the other one,
keep the secret.
Keep the secret.
We don't talk. Oh yes, yeah, it's very good, Billy.
That's one for people who watch way too many whiskey adverts. Anyway, so on to our next question. So, question 26. What name is commonly used to describe casks made from Japanese oak? Style of cask is often referred to as sayonara, mizunara, or carbonara. A rare and tasty style of oak.
Very tasty. Yeah, adds an almost creamy character to the whiskey, if I'm not mistaken.
Indeed, although definitely not actually with added cream. That would just be wrong.
No. Yeah. It doesn't add a creaminess to the whiskey. It doesn't.
Also,
if anything, it's more of a kind of like. I mean, I know our peer and well-known author Dave Broom often talks of almost like walking into a temple when you smell a whiskey that's been aged in this type of Japanese oak barrel.
It's a weird incensey thing, and it's one of those ones which, once you've detected it in a whiskey, once you've had it, you can find little aspects of it in other whiskies. But it's it's a rare privilege to have tried some whiskies matured in this type of cask, and I would thoroughly recommend that you work out what the answer is and then go and find those whiskies.
If you can. They're quite rare these days.
Oh, yes.
Right, back over to Scotland now for the next question. So number 27. In Speyside, they have a saying that Rome was built on 7 hills, but Dufton was built on 7... What was Dufton built on 7 of? Was it A, stills, B, dwarves, or C, seas? There you go.
I see what you've done there.
Yeah.
On to question number 28. So, who founded Glenesk Distillery? Although I'm fairly certain it's had like 97 different names, Glenesk. It's an oft-named distillery. So, Glenesk, founded in 1897 by which person? Was it Optimus Prime, Septimus Parsonage, or Maximus Decimus? Strong names.
Strong names. All
strong names. Yeah.
3 very strong names there. Yeah. Excellent. Right, and to our penultimate question now, number 29. The American Whiskey Rebellion, which was triggered as a result of bloody governments trying to tax whiskies. The American Whiskey Rebellion began in which year? Was it 1773, 1791, or 1830? What year did it start?
Mm-hmm. And on to our final question in this main body of the quiz, of which more later. Question number 30. Donald Johnston, one of the founders of Lefroy Distillery, tragically died in 1847 after falling into what? Was it a boiling vat of pot ale, a nearby loch, or a malt silo?
It's a really tricky one, that one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Final question to end on.
They're not nice ways to go, really, I have to say.
No,
Yeah.
none of those.
But anyway, that is our 30 questions. We are now going to quickly run back and we're going to jump through all of the answers. So pause the video after I finish talking. Go through, check your answers, write things down, make sure you're happy with it, and then go through. Unfortunately, we have had no conferring, but I am now making no bonus points. So this is scored directly out of 30. Might give you a half point if you're lucky, but no, out of 30. So pause, check. Welcome back. Right, so Chris, I shall kick off as you kicked off last time, and we shall jump through these nice and quick. So question number 1, which Irish band had a hit single in 1972 with Whiskey in the Jar? The answer was A, Thin Lizzy.
Excellent. We'll power through these quite quickly. So question number 2, the answer to that, traditional pot stills must be made out of C, copper.
Excellent. And question number 3, which famous American president owned a whiskey distillery at Mount Vernon? It was George Washington.
It's a bit of a trick question, that one there, because there is a whiskey brand named after Thomas Jefferson, but he never owned a distillery. In fact, I believe he was relatively teetotal. Not that I met the fella, but you know.
That's the way they say, you know, we'll get onto a famous brand pushed by a footballer who's basically teetotal. That's a different matter. We don't talk about that. Anyway, moving on.
Different story.
Yeah.
So, is it me? I've lost track, buddy. I think it's me, isn't it? Yeah. So, which American master distiller was responsible for creating Blanton's? Was in fact Elmer T. Lee, who sadly passed away not that long ago, and has his own range of bourbon, but no. He was the man responsible for creating Blanton's.
Mm-hmm. So question number 5, which Scottish distillery sent a sample of their spirit into space in 2011? It was Ardbeg.
Excellent. And then number 6, you would typically find C, you find a washback at a distillery, not a double back or an outback.
No. So many backs, but not those backs. So number 7, Prohibition in the US took place between which years? It was 1920 to 1933. 13 years of pure joy.
Number 8, which species of barley is not used for making whiskey? Is it in fact Golden Wonder? Is not a species of barley. Golden Promise is, but Golden Wonder, very different thing. So
still definitely tasty. What name? Question 9. What name is used for the traditional earthen floored warehouses commonly found at distilleries in Scotland? The answer was A, dunnage warehouses.
Indeed. And question number 10, the first Japanese whiskey distillery was Yamazaki.
100 years old in a couple of years' time. Question number 11. What were the good old boys drinking in Don McLean's 1972 hit single with American Pie? They were drinking whiskey and rye.
Indeed. The American state, which is famous for the Lincoln County process, is in fact Tennessee.
And question 13. Which Scottish single malt was renamed the Singleton in 86 due to difficulty to pronounce? That would be Orthrusk, which is of course spelled Auchroisk. Orthrusk.
Indeed. And then number 14, the distillery cat at Glenturret was named Towser, and allegedly, didn't allegedly, he did have a Guinness World Record for catching hundreds and hundreds of mice over his lifetime.
Yeah, I think I have a new one. I can't remember.
I think they do. I think sadly Towser's passed away. I think they even have a little statue of Towser at the distillery. Not that I've seen it.
No, I've not been to Glenturret for a while. Yeah. We've got some interesting whiskies of those. That's a different matter for another day. So, number 15. What is the farm on which Kilcoman Distillery on Islay is situated? That is Rockside Farm.
Rockside Farm, indeed. And then question number 16. The earliest records of whiskey in Ireland come from the Annals of Clonmacnoise in 1405. So it's written record anyway. I don't know.
Someone wrote down. It'll be like the bowls of malt. It'll be somebody will written down. Man drank thing, fell over. You know, it'll be
It's a grey area. It's a grey area.
Ancient Egyptians, I'm telling you. So number 17 in the 2012 movie Skyfall, Bond and the villain drank 1962 Macallan together.
Indeed. That was a horrifying scene where they drink it.
It's not the happiest moment of the movie.
Not the happiest moment in the film. No.
Anyway.
And then on a bottle of Powers, you will find 3 swallows. Allegedly, as it goes down in 3 swallows, I think was the marketing. Marketing behind that. But
yes, that's worse than our puns, Chris. I don't know. Ours are pretty bad. So, question number 19: which of these 3 distilleries was the first to be granted a royal warrant in 1833? And the answer is Royal Brackler Distillery.
Then question 20, it was W.C. Fields who joked that you should always carry a flagon of whiskey in case of snake bite, and also carry a small snake.
Question 21. Ian MacArthur at Lagavulin is known as Pinky.
Question number 22. In Highlander, Conor MacLeod drinks Glenmorangie.
With ice, which is quite nice.
With ice indeed.
Works, So the minimum number of years whiskey needs to be aged to be called whiskey is 3.
Indeed. And then
to be called Scotch, sorry.
Indeed, to be called Scotch whiskey.
In general, it has to be. So, but yes. Anyway, 3.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's just British plain spirit or something awful like
that. Spirit drink is the sexiest of drink categories. Or I want me some
spirit drink. There you go. I don't think you wouldn't have that as a line in the Blur song, would you? Is it Blur or Pulp? Pulp. I'm thinking of Common People.
Yes, Common People's Pulp. Yes.
Is it?
Yeah.
No. I'm thinking of something else. I'm getting lost here. I'm getting my songs all mixed up. Moving swiftly.
More answers before it's early. It's early. Leave us alone.
Moving swiftly on. We have got the question about
question number 24.
Number 24. Which whiskey brand launched a limited edition bottling to commemorate 100-year anniversary of Dylan Thomas? Was Penderyn. Dylan Thomas being Welsh.
Indeed, and they celebrate many Welsh icons in their Icons of Wales series. So, number 25. Which former England football player has lent his bit behind the new Hay Club grain whiskey? That would be David. I definitely drink. I'm not teetotal. Beckham.
Indeed. And then question 26. What name was commonly used for casks made out of Japanese oak? Is Mizunara. Mizunara casks.
Indeed. Not carbonara, which of course should contain no cream and should entirely be made creamy through the emulsification of eggs and pasta water. I have strong opinions. So 27. In Speyside, they say Rome was built on 7 hills, but Duffin was built on 7 stills.
And then question number 29, the American Whiskey Rebellion.
Question number 28. You missed out 28.
Oh, sorry, Billy. You caught me out there. Well done. 28, indeed, not 29. Who founded the Glenesk Distillery in 1897? It was Septimus Parsonage. Sadly, not Optimus Prime. I would have loved it.
Sorry, I have to say, Septimus Parsonage is still a very strong name.
Great name.
Seppi to his mates? Tim, maybe? Who knows? Number 29, we have the American Whiskey Rebellion began in which year? It was 1791. Very interesting. Look it up on Wikipedia or find a nice book about it. There's a load of good books about it. So, interesting times in America.
Cool. And then the final question, question number 30. Donald Johnston, who founded one of the founders of Lefroy, tragically died after falling into a vat of pot ale.
Not a good thing. I've seen pot ale. I don't want to go near it. I don't want to drown in it. Ugh. Leftover.
Dangerous things, distilleries. Lots of hazards.
So that is our 30 questions. Tot up how many marks you got. Like that. There are no half marks, as you may have noticed. There are no bonus things. It is a score out of 30. If you get 30 points, well done. If you've got another score, well done. Hooray, well done. Good work, everybody. However, I did mention earlier on prizes. So we have an extra question that is definitely not Googleable. a question that is stored only within Chris's brain and also our computer systems. So the prize is simple. We have got a load of great tasting sets for the whole of this week of the Whisky Show, and we've pushed a few of them aside. I mean, a little set of tasting sets that if you get this question right, send us the answer. We'll pick out one of the correct answers out of the hat, the closest answer, and they will win a Discover Scotland Northern Highlands tasting set, Discover Scotland Southern Highlands tasting set, a Sherry Lovers tasting set, a For the Love of Islay tasting set, and a Compass Box 20th anniversary tasting set, which has got some great limited edition whiskies in. All of those are accompanied by tastings during this week. So if you want to jump in and watch them, if you've got a Whisky Show ticket, you can do. I'm hosting some of them. You should definitely come to those. That'd be great. But to enter between the 2nd and the 9th of October, during the time that we are running the Whisky Show itself, until basically before midnight at the end of day on the 9th of October, email quiz@whiskyshow.com with your answer to the following question. Chris.
The question is, how many product lines are currently in stock in the Great Portland Street Whisky Exchange store? How many product lines do you think we have? And that's not just whiskey, we're talking about gins, vodkas, tequilas, champagnes. If you're going to take a guess.
Stuff.
How many different products?
Yeah. Great Portland Street, not a small shop.
No, 2 floors of booze paradise.
Indeed. And if you're in London, please visit, see Chris, say hello. So come up with a number for the number of lines you reckon are currently in stock at the Great Portland Street shop. Pop it in an email to quiz@whiskyshow.com. Stick Whiskey Quiz in the subject line just to make sure that we know which quiz you're talking about. And we will announce the winner after the end of the Whisky Show on the 9th of October. But anyway, thank you very much for joining in our quiz. Congratulations for answering all the questions. Hopefully you answered all the questions and have a score and all of that. And Chris, Quizmaster with the most, thank you very much for joining us, and thank you very much for putting together the quiz yet again.
You're very welcome, Billy. Thank you for having me. And yeah, can't wait for the Whisky Show in a couple of weeks. Very exciting.
Indeed. So all you lot of people who are watching us at the moment, hopefully you're actually joining in Whisky Show. We are merely just looking forward to the wonder of a week of absolute whiskey madness and rum. Don't forget the rum, and also the bit of wine stuff and the popcorn. There's a load of popcorn. I don't know if you've seen the popcorn. There's a lot of popcorn involved. Dawn likes popcorn currently. But anyway, join us, hosted by me, Dawn Davis, our head buyer at Whisky Exchange, and whiskey writer Dave Broom. We've got, along with all the different stuff we've got from all the different whiskey makers, we've got about 200 some talks. I think it was 227 when I counted them from a spreadsheet the other day. So on top of quizzes, all the great stuff here in the show guide, there are talks and things all week. So come and join in, say hello, and enjoy yourselves. But anyway, thank you for doing the quiz, and we will see you sometime soon.